I'm very, very excited to have again our fantastic guest expert has worked with hundreds of brands, helped them to grow the business, is a seller himself, and is really, really deep expert when everything related to Amazon advertising. Welcome, Yasser.
Thanks for the amazing introduction, Thomas. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Like Thomas said, I'm Strategic Account Manager at Sellics. I support our brands to grow on Amazon in terms of advertising, in terms of SEO, and general e-commerce knowledge, I would say. Yeah, thanks for having me, Thomas.
Thank you, Yasser, for being here. And I'm sure that, for those of you that are watching this show on a regular basis, you know Yasser. He has already been here for a few times and is a very, very, very appreciated guest when we go deeper into some of the most important topics in the industry. And that's actually what we also will do today. So we have today an exciting topic. Before we talk about the topic and what we will cover today, I just want to say a big thank you for everyone that is joining today. We are absolutely aware that there's right now many things happening around the world. Many people are just watching the news screens, and we also see this with the Amazon numbers, right? So there's a big topic happening globally, but we appreciate it that you're joining, that you're watching this, because it is actually still true that Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the two biggest days of anyone that is selling on Amazon, are actually happening in 20 days. Absolutely. How do you feel about this, Yasser?
Well, it's exciting, right? It's been a very wild ride so far this year. And it's being topped off now by Q4. We've seen Prime Day, I think, for most of our viewers as well in the podcast. They experienced a really good Prime Day, and I'm sure the next events will be as good, right? And today, I think we'll cover how to prepare, how to be best prepared for it in terms of SEO, in terms of PPC, and what you can do from now on to be really well prepared.
Perfect, thank you. So I'll just give a very, very quick rundown of what we will actually cover today. So for that, let me quickly share my screen so that we have a very quick overview of many exciting topics which we will do today. So let me share this screen. And yes, so basically what we'll do in the beginning, so in the first couple of minutes, we'll talk a little bit about Black Friday, Cyber Monday. What does that mean? What can you expect? What happened in the last years? Just to get everyone a little bit on the same page. What is actually happening in 21 days? Then number two, what we're doing is we will go into some of the basics which are incredibly important. These are basics which you've seen in the past. Sellers, brands, also agencies sometimes not tend to forget them because it's such a busy period. There's so many things happening, but it's very important to not forget them, actually to really double check that all of this is really set up properly before the big days are happening. So we'll talk a little bit about inventory reviews and SEO just to ensure to cover all of this. Before we then will go deeper into the top two topics, which should be most relevant for many out there. Number one, we'll talk a little bit about promotions, deals, all of this. We know that not just Prime Day that happened 3 weeks ago, also Black Friday, Cyber Monday are the big days where users of Amazon, consumers of Amazon, they're expecting deals. They're expecting discounts. They're expecting great price reductions. So we'll talk about the possibilities, and we also will talk about, does it actually make sense to do this or not? And what are the different options of what you should really think about if you're thinking about the price discounts for your products. And then in the last session, but pretty much the most important one for today, we actually will talk about strategies that you can do around the advertising space within Amazon. What are the different things that you can do in terms of formats? What are different things that you should really think about when it comes to bidding and budget setting? And what are also the best ways that you can do right now to understand what you should really focus on if you want to maximize your sales in 3 weeks? So a lot of exciting topics. And again, I welcome everyone that is joining today in this incredibly busy time for the world right now. And we also will share afterwards the recording. There will be more collateral and all of this. So please stay tuned for everything that will also follow up after the session. So coming back to the first topic that we have today. So the first big topic that we just have that we will talk about is Black Friday, Cyber Monday itself. I just want to also again remind everyone, if you're here for the first time, right? So please ensure that, I think there's a comment. Thomas, can you switch to grid view so that we can see you both? Right now, only the one who speaks can be seen. Hi there. Yes, I can. There we go. Thank you, Andreas. You know, love the comment, and it's also a fantastic thing that just helps me to remind everyone this is a live show. This is a live show, so please also ask any questions throughout the show. Yasser and I will try to address them in real time, as always. And again, you know, this is a show for you. And if you're attending live, this is also a fantastic opportunity to really engage and just to get the most out of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So let's get started. We have many topics for today, so I would say let's get going. And the first thing what I just would like to start to talk a little bit about is what is actually happening, right? So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, I think, you know, everyone should know what that means, but this year things are slightly different. They're different due to various reasons. They're different due to reason number one: Prime Day actually happened 3 weeks ago. Normally, Prime Day happens roughly mid-July. This year, Prime Day happened three weeks ago. What does that mean? The second thing that is different this year is that COVID-19 had a significant impact on e-commerce around the world. We've seen big lockdowns in roughly end of Q1, Q2 this year. They had a significant impact. We see now again numbers increasing very fast, rapidly across many countries, and also new lockdowns happening. And this also has a big impact on e-commerce. So what does that actually mean when we think about Black Friday, Cyber Monday? For this question, I think, you know, the best question always to think about the future is just look at the past and the history. So the first thing that we just would like to quickly cover is what happened actually last year. So this is a chart, which is the 2019, which you can see in this chart is an estimation of how much advertising revenue has been produced on Amazon. That's a fantastic proxy for overall revenue that has been produced on Amazon, because basically advertising revenue already represents such a big share of Amazon revenue that this is more or less equal to what you can expect happening normally across the board. And what you basically see here is that Prime Day normally again happens Q3, right? Mid-July, 22nd of July, it was, I think, in 2019. And then you have the now exciting time here at the end, right? So we're right now here, which is pretty much the first week of November. And then what happens in the 2-3 weeks afterwards, sales start to increase gradually. And then they have these two very big peaks. One being called Black Friday, and 3 days later, Cyber Monday, which is or has been historically the biggest day on Amazon for most sellers. But it doesn't stop. So what happens afterwards is this beautiful thing, which many also tend to neglect, right? Because they think about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the Turkey 5, big 5 days following Thanksgiving. But what is happening afterwards? We have another 2-3 weeks up to the 18th, 19th of December, where sales are incredibly high. This is what you basically see here. So almost on every day, we have sales which are more or less on a comparable level to what you can expect of Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And only then, roughly around the 18th of December, things start to drop dramatically up to here, which is the 27th of December. And then they basically come back to more or less the normal level up to New Year's. So this is what's normally happening on roughly, let's say normally, if we look at 2019 and we think that a normal year is basically like this. If we now think about 2020, right? So we talked about this in the past, and I just want to quickly give a recap. This is end of March, right? This is what we've seen. These were the lockdowns, COVID-19, significant increase. Then things at a very strong, stable level. No Prime Day this year, right? Prime Day happened much later. And then Black Friday, Cyber Monday were expected to come. And we shared some expectations in the past about what to expect. These were basically our expectations. So we said, okay, Prime Day will be big, will be significant. And then things will continue to Black Friday and Cyber Monday, where they will be on an incredible peak. just due to the very, very high level that we've seen throughout the year, through all of the different effects, which we'll not cover in detail today, that COVID-19 has caused around the world. But the truth is that things are slightly different than we predicted them, right? Because one of the things that we predicted here is basically that things on a very high level continue to be on a high level, and that Prime Day is, again, very, very high, as high as almost the other two. This was our prediction. But now we have the numbers, we have the figures, we looked at October, and we asked ourselves the question, was the prediction correct? And the first answer of today is partly, right? So let's go back to pretty much this one here. So what we see here now is a very quick view of roughly what happened this year, right? If we now continue, things are continuing on a higher level, but they've started to gradually also normalize and decrease again, right? To come again back to normal levels. When we think about September, when we think about October, they have been more or less again slightly going down. So this is something which, could have been expected because things were normalizing to a certain degree. And this is an effect, which we expected to a certain degree, but it has been, especially in the US, a little bit stronger. In other countries like Germany, UK, not that strong, but also in that markets, we haven't seen such a sharp increase starting the COVID pandemic as we've seen in the United States. So we see here Prime Day now, and I think this is the first interesting thing. Prime Day has been on a lower level than Prime Day last year. This also matches, we asked this question, our user base, we asked the question, the brands that were closely with us, and this is something which many reported. There were a few exceptions, but for many, Prime Day was slightly lower than 2019. I think the reasons, Yasser, I think we covered them slightly in the last shows, but what would you say now after Prime Day was the main reason that it was for many, many, many out there lower than 2019?
Yeah. I think first of all, usually it's in summer, right? And there's a big lead up to Prime Day as well. So Amazon advertises it, you see it. I don't know if you remember, but in Berlin last year during Prime Day, before Prime Day, we could see it in the streets, right? So on buses, billboards, Prime Day is coming, Prime Day is coming. Of course, this is going to drive a lot of traffic to Amazon. So that's one reason I would say. Yeah, it was very short notice. There was not much preparation from Amazon sides probably as well. Maybe they didn't want to push too much traffic as well, because still there was a higher demand from because of the pandemic. Yeah, and fulfillment centers were under stress. So I guess the less advertisement they had was one of the reasons was the pandemic and the higher demand during the pandemic. Another reason is as well, it was usually it's in summer, and the sellers weren't really prepared. Yeah, so you had a lot of sellers that usually do the promotion during the summer, during the time when there is a dip, when there's a low in sales, and they cover this low through the Prime Day. And this time, first of all, they had stock issues, some of them, right? So they could not really use the FBA services as they're used to. And the second of all, they didn't really account for Prime Day and have that extra stock in the storage as well, right? So all of these might be reasons, we never know if it's for certain or not, but I see them as reasons for the lower numbers in Prime Day this year.
Yeah, and I think this is spot on. I think this is what we heard from many out there. So there were different reasons, that were responsible for that. So in hindsight, it's not that surprising that it was on a slightly lower level. Many also said that they're waiting a little bit to Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? Which is basically just 6 weeks later. So if you haven't received an amazing, great deal on Prime Day, many just thought, okay, I can wait another few weeks, right? Because Black Friday, Cyber Monday is there. This would normally in a year like 2019 not happen, because this is when you have 5 months in between the two big things, right? And now you have only a few weeks. A second thing, which we also heard a lot, is that especially like the bigger brands, right? So the big consumer brands also haven't participated that much in Prime Day. As Yasser, you just mentioned it. It's been very short notice. Many could not fully prepare for this. There were also still supply issues. There were preparation issues. There were many challenges around the board. So many of those that really participated big time in Prime Day, next to Amazon, where many, let's say, smaller brands, small and mid-tier brands that really try to get the most out of us. So this, I think, are some of the reasons which we see here.
Prime Day light this year, yeah.
Prime Day light, right?
We
but
get
now
next year again.
Yeah, we get a full year next year. But I think the big question is, what does it mean? What does it mean now for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, right? Because now we have basically these 20 days. We have Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Should we think that this will be, let's say, also significantly smaller than it was last year, or the opposite, right? Should we think that because people already are hooked, with Prime Day, many new Prime subscribers, people waited intentionally, afterwards to really use Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Many could not do their vacation this year, and they will try probably to have higher spendings this year around Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So what would you expect, Yasser? Will Black Friday, Cyber Monday be the absolute record of all, or do you think it will be actually lower than that?
Well, there's another thing, right? We have the lockdown. I mean, at least in Europe, most of Europe is under lockdown again, and people will still buy Christmas present, I hope, right? So they'll move to e-commerce, to Amazon mostly. So that's another driver, I would say. And these are two events that people are very used to. Yeah? So I get a lot of clients that tell me, okay, customers are already asking, do you have deals coming up or not, right? So they're postponing purchases that could happen now until the big events. And so it's hard to predict, because there's a lot of unpredictable things happening. But I'm pretty sure it's going to be as much or even more than the years before, right? Because we don't have the effects of Prime Day. Prime Day was unpredictable. There wasn't much of a lead up. People weren't prepared. This time it's a bit different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, so my personal guess, because all of this, it actually will be very, very significant. And if we now want to go a little bit deeper into Black Friday and Cyber Monday, let me just also open up the chat here so that we also can see this. Okay, I think I need to change it in a second. Let's first probably cover this one, and then we'll come back to basically the chat and also some of the future questions. So when we now would like to better understand what to really expect in 3 weeks, again, a great thing to do is just to now look in a little bit more depth what happened 2019. So what you see here is pretty much, we are right now roughly here, right? So the 5th of November. And we have now a few weeks to go. Things are more or less stable. And then the action actually starts with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, this is the Thursday, traditionally before Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And this is normally the day where you would see in most numbers and figures and KPIs a very low value. Because this is not the shopping day, many things are closed, many Americans are spending time with their families. And so normally at Thanksgiving, things are very, very on a very low level. This then changes dramatically. So what you see here, the percentage changes are comparison to October, right? So even that like average October values. So on Black Friday, we see already 2x in average, right? What's happening here, right? So sales tend to double in average for many brands out there. So this is a very big one. But then you have the weekend, right? You have Saturday, Sunday. If you go closer here, this is still higher than basically when you look back, right? Than the normal days. And then you have the very, very strong peak on Cyber Monday, 152% plus, 2.5x average sales. This is normally the big best day for many brands throughout the full year. Exactly happening in 23 days. So this is Cyber Monday. And what happens afterwards? Afterwards, we have the holiday shopping season, right? Which basically now starts then from Cyber Monday up to roughly 15, 16, 17 of December. This is where you have the peak, and then things start to go down with a very, very big, lowest value, 24th of December, increase gradually again, 27th, and then they normalize again. So why is this important? Because Black Friday, Cyber Monday is not just an incredible, let's say, 2-day event itself. It's actually, first and foremost, it's a weekend, right? So it's 4 days. And then it opens up another almost 3 weeks, right? 2 to 3 weeks where you have incredible high sales. And this is up to the 15th of 16th of December. And not just that, right? We're looking here about revenue, but what we'll do later, we also will look at ACoS, we'll look at CPCs, we'll look at conversion rates. Because if you go deeper into this couple of days, we actually can very nicely predict what this means for your bids, for your budgets, for your inventory strategy. If you really want to get the most out of this, also for your pricing strategy, and really want to get these 3 weeks that they really count as much for your business as possible. So we will cover this today. But before we continue, and first, get one step back and talk about the basics, I will quickly check the chat and see what we have here. So, Grace, hi Grace. With the second wave settling in, will Black Friday and Cyber Monday be affected adversely? What do you think, Yasser?
I think it's quite the opposite, right? It should have a positive effect on e-commerce in general, and of course on Amazon and these big events, right? So instead of buying your Christmas gifts in the market, even Christmas markets in Germany, I don't know how much they're gonna still have Christmas markets. Do you know, Thomas? This is just one example, right? But in general, I think retail is going to be shifted online, immensely during this time.
No, I also think so. So I think, Grace, it depends, of course, on the countries, right? I also did think, especially in the US, I think it also depends how things will evolve now in the next few weeks, right? So they're also next to COVID-19, there's also a very important election happening, right? So there are many things going on. So it's incredibly difficult to fully predict, but assuming that things will more or less be stable now in the next couple of weeks, knowing that many more are right now in e-commerce, knowing that many did not buy things on Prime Day, but saved the money now for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and knowing that many could also not travel this year, and they have probably also some budget uplift there, which they want to invest or spend, right? Then this will be the perfect chance. So my personal prediction is it's going to be by far the biggest 4 days in the history of Amazon by magnitude, right? So that's my personal guess, but we'll see. So might be
it's
wrong,
very unpredictable these days, right? I would have a similar guess, I would say, Thomas, but these times are super unpredictable. But the strategy shouldn't differ, right? You should be prepared for these days. There's going to be a big spike in sales, and we go through the steps that you can prepare for prior to this, right? How big it is it really the biggest, or a bit less, a bit more? Let's see, right? But the steps we can take are pretty much the same.
Yeah, I agree. So let's quickly, thanks, Grace, for that question. Travis, welcome, Travis. So for 2019, peak Prime Day and peak Christmas sales was more or less around the same figure then. So the Christmas season, the days are slightly below, right? Like the individual, the day, Prime Day, as well as Black Friday and Cyber Monday, but they add up. Because you have 20 of them, right? A little bit less, right? You have like 15 of them, but they add up. They're all more or less half a Prime Day, right? And then, of course, 2, 3 of them, and you're at the same level. So basically, in volume, they're significantly bigger, right? If you really look at the full period, that is on a very high level. But from a day perspective, normally Cyber Monday is the strongest, then Prime Day, and then in average Black Friday. For many, right? This also differs. We asked the question, I think, in the show about Prime Day, Yasser, a few weeks back. It was different for everyone, right? So it's very difficult.
I think it's different as well between US and Europe, right? I think it's the inverse for Europe. Whereby Black Friday is the bigger day, right? And Cyber Monday is a bit less. So
we'll see.
I guess. Yeah,
we'll see how this will play out. But I think from a strategy perspective, I think it's as you just said, Yasser, the preparations that we'll cover today, I think they are important in any case, right? I think they're important for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but especially also the 2.5 weeks afterwards, because this is where the magic is happening. Reese, welcome, Reese. So for Prime Day this year, I followed your STL and stocked up a lot in advance. Turned out helpful. That's great. Great to hear. For Black Friday and Cyber Monday, follow the same. Be prepared. How do you guys expect this year to go? Absolutely. And this will now also bring us to the first topic, right? When we talk about the basics, and this is inventory, right? I think it's something which normally, is we always, think that this is a topic which should be more or less out there, and everyone thinks about it, but in practice, not, right? Because of course, there are many topics happening, many different things happening, and it can be sometimes very difficult to predict the required inventory that you will have this year, right? Also knowing that all of the things that happened in the last couple of months, and also knowing that the supply chains are also on a very, very, very high level right now, including the lockdowns, right? So it's not that easy to do any short-term adjustments. And it's important to plan ideally the long term ahead of it, which is probably to some degree already too late. It's still possible. So if you haven't done it yet, now would be the time. But Yasser, what would you say from an inventory perspective for anyone right now? We have the 5th of November. We have exactly 20 days to Black Friday. And then again, we have 3 big weeks. What would you now, which advice would you give everyone in terms of inventory?
Yeah, well, if you're shipping directly let's say from Asia, China to the FBA warehouses, it's too late, right? No chance. If you're shipping from the US, to locally somewhere, there might be still a chance to get inventory in time. Yeah, it depends. You have to check it out, see what notice they give you in the Seller Central, and see if this is still on time or not, right? If you're using FBM, it's always better to use FBA. Yeah, I mean, even with the deals, you'll have a much better chance using FBA. But if you're using FBM, you might have an advantage there as well because you have no limits. Yeah, no stock limits. You'll have inventory, and so stock up if you can. Yeah, do it right now. Don't wait any day longer. And if you, in general, I think if you're only depending on FBA, you should also find a source of fulfillment outside Amazon. Right? We've seen it during the first Corona wave. It's always better to have an option B, plan B. Yeah, and you can use FBM. You can still sell on Amazon even though you don't have stock in Amazon. You can quickly ship, right? So if you have this warehouse outside, you can quickly ship to FBA. You don't need to order in advance, weeks in advance. You can just, it could be there in a couple of days. So having this flexibility proved very useful before, and it will continue to prove very, very useful going forward. If you're shipping directly from Asia to FBA, next year, right? Prepare for next year.
Yeah, so I think this is also plays now a big role when we think about promotions, when we think about deals, when we think about advertising strategies, right? So I think the key thing is that you will have much more possibilities to try out different strategies when you don't need to worry so much about inventory, right? Mm-hmm. Because as soon as you don't have that much, right, it will limit the possibilities a big time, which we'll touch on in a second. So if you haven't already prepared this, should be probably the first thing after the show. Definitely, ensure that you have enough inventory, and not just for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, right? Also for the 3 weeks afterwards, because again, they add up dramatically. So please, kind of like it's something which also will give you much more flexibility when it comes to pricing changes, also advertising campaigns, promotions, deals, all of this. So you don't want to be limited on that side. The other 2 things which we just want to quickly touch on when we talk about so-called basics, right, is reviews, right? I think reviews is something which is also more or less a no-brainer, but now would be the time just to ensure that everything is set up here. Any last-minute advice, Yasser, for you on that one?
In terms of the basics, inventory, reviews. Well, make sure that you promote your items that have at least 4-star rating. Yeah. Now to get more reviews in a very short time will not be possible, but at least you can do the product selection beforehand. Yeah. Choose the ones that have a lot of ratings, the most ratings, the best ratings. In terms of SEO, things you can do is optimize for keywords. That could be still useful. Yeah. If you're missing out on some keywords, include them now. Optimize for conversion. Yeah. Make sure your title is the right title. And all the keywords are in there. You can use our tool, which helps you do the keyword research, which helps you include these keywords in the right place in your listing, and will show you how you're organically ranking for each keyword. Yeah, so it's a really nice workflow. You do the keyword research, you include them, you make sure that you start ranking. So of course, reviews. Make sure you have the right number of your reviews, the right quality of reviews. In terms of keyword research, it's not too late. Get started. Update your listings and track your organic rankings. You can still push organic rankings even now. I think it's a good time as well, right? So let's say we have 2-3 weeks before sales really is going to pick up. What you can do now is focus on a few keywords, yeah, put them in a single campaign with a high top of search adjustment. So you're up there in top of search, you have a higher click-through rate, a higher conversion rate, and you can start ranking organically for these few keywords. Yeah. So if you push a few keywords that you know you convert well for, starting from now, this will be very, very helpful later on during these times. Yeah. Because I think a few people even now would start to do the strategy. Yeah. So if you're one of the few that already pushes now for some organic keywords, you'll be in a much better position when traffic is high and the sales volume is there.
Perfect. Thank you, Yasser. Yeah, so I think when we think about reviews, when we think about SEO, these are normally topics which are very important throughout the year, right? So this is something which is not just important for now, it's important for anyone at any time. But if, right, there's still a couple of things that you can do around both areas, reviews and SEO, then now would be the time, right? Now would be the time. Now you still can make a difference. Yasser touched on the key parts, right? We'll not review all of them today in detail. We will have dedicated sessions of all of them, right? But from the top level now to really, really ensure that your listings are optimized, right? Ensuring that everything is set up properly, that you use A+ content, that you really ensured that your positionings, your images, your titles, your descriptions, all of this is in a perfect shape and ideally better than from your competitors. You can use the Sellics software that will help you a lot to really ensure that this happens. Doing another keyword research, keywords change, right? So it's not something that you choose once and then it's done. Really, really ensuring that you have a broad keyword set within your listings. Ensure that it's actually responsible there and will also show up when it matters, and also really track how things are going, right? So really doing all of this, I think, is key. If you want to get to know any of this in more depth, we just published now this page here, right? So if you go at the top, you have now next to advertising and profit, you also have now SEO. You will see all of this here together, right? So you will see basically everything combined, where you just can get a good overview of what you can do, starting with listing optimization, but also more deep dives in terms of keyword research, right? It's a topic that we can fill a full show, actually many shows for this, right? So we'll not go into too much depth today and everything that you couldn't do there, but it's definitely very, very important. And obviously also track all of this. There is also Sonar, right? So if you haven't known Sonar yet, even if you're not a customer of Celex or not a trial user of Celex, you can also use a free keyword research tool, right? Just go on the SEO page, click here, and you basically have a free keyword research tool as well, which you can do here, right? So all of this is here. It's now also on the page. You can find it out, right? Next to here, do this. I think profit will not cover too much today, but I think it's clear that you should ideally track everything that is happening. The mobile app is a perfect thing for this. But what we will now go much deeper into is actually the specific strategies that you can now still do to boost specifically your sales within these 5 plus 10, 15 days. And they are much more around advertising and deals and coupons. But before we do this, I will just hold on here for a second and quickly again jump back to the chat, because I also want to ensure that we do this. Andreas is asking how I can connect with Yasser. I think I will need some info about his suppliers. Yasser, how can people reach and find you?
Well, on LinkedIn, I think is one way, right? Or just write me on my Sellics email. Yeah, I'll be very happy to connect.
Perfect.
But I will not give away my suppliers. So
not that easily, right? So
not that easily, right?
Not that easily. But and then we have Jess is asking, the do's are all over the internet, but can you remind us what the most important don'ts are with regards to reviews? Yes, sir. What should people right now definitely not do in order to avoid a disaster, right? When
in terms of reviews, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I think it's a long-term thing, reviews. Yeah, so there's nothing on a short-term that you could do wrong. Long-term, what you could do wrong is not apply the terms of service. Yeah, so be too pushy about reviews. You might be banned, right? Be very careful. There's a lot of changes. I think there's a big change now in the messaging as well. Yeah, the automation. So before you were able, until a certain extent, to communicate with the customer. Now it's even more limited. Yeah, so be up to date. Be within the terms, and don't over push getting reviews. Yeah, be smart about it at least. So that's on the long term. Short term, just watch out that for your promotions, you have the products, you choose the products with the best ratings, in terms of quality and quantity. Just be within terms of service. I think that's the best advice I can give.
Perfect. Then Johannes, welcome back. Johannes is asking, do you guys recommend the function to request manual reviews via sales orders within the 4 to 30-day time window? There are different strategies out there. Some only send to repeat customers, some to all. What has your experience been?
Yeah, I think there's incredible results. Yeah, so it's really because the emails get there, people get them, and it's very easy through the template, through the Amazon template, to actually leave a review. So conversion rates on these are much higher than any automation you might have used before. When applying this, be careful that you only send it to customers that haven't refunded yet, right? So you can see the order, wait a few days, don't send it immediately, because give them some time if they don't like it to send it back. Then you know they've sent it back and you don't send the request for review. Yeah? So that's another very, very important advice, right? Don't send it to anyone who's sent it back. He's most likely unhappy, right? So, yeah. But in general, I've seen very good results there.
Good. Yeah, so definitely, and I think in terms of also just other things around the don'ts, right? So of course, I think everything that is not let's say a real review, fake reviews, spot reviews, all of this. I think all of this, of course, right? So Amazon is incredibly smart, right? Don't underestimate that, right? So I think the best way is really to have as good products as possible, and really trying to work with the reviews, addressing them, and also sending politely messages to everyone that should ask a review.
I think the best in general long-term strategy, try to exceed the expectations, right? So sometimes when you have a listing, the expectations are way high, they get the product, they're not satisfied, they leave a bad review. Yeah? So if you have lower expectations and the product is of higher quality, the chance that you'll get a good review is much better.
Which is obviously a trade-off with the conversion rate in the first place.
That's very true, right? So yeah.
I need to balance this. Okay, so this is thanks folks for the questions around the reviews. So we now want to talk about the two big things which are now very, very important for these 2 days. And this is again deals, coupons, and then advertising strategies. Before we do this, just a very quick survey, right? So I just would like to get, I know that we're today a slightly smaller group. Again, it's a crazy time right now in the world, but I really want to still hear from all of you, right? So when you think about Black Friday, Cyber Monday, is this now something where you would say, okay, this is the thing, right? So everything else doesn't matter, right? I really want to ensure that I get the most out of it. Would you say the opposite, where you say, nothing actually, normal days, everything fine? Or would you be in the middle and just say, yeah, something's here, something's there, right? But nothing crazy. So just to get some pulse feeling. And I think, in the room, looking at this, I think we have everything represented, 60% already replied. So it seems that we have 20%, that say actually big time, 20% no, not at all, and the middle is somewhere in between. So let's see if we can now change this in the next 20 minutes when we actually tell you what you can do. So the first thing, and for everyone that watched this show around Prime Day, roughly 4 or 5 weeks ago, you probably have heard some of these things already there, but we just want to give a very, very quick recap when it comes in the end to now Amazon Black Friday, as well as Cyber Monday. A very big thing around these 2 days is, if you like it or not, the price, right? Many consumers will come to Amazon, they will click on this, right? They will click on other things, and they really would like to understand how are things going. And there are different deals, the different deal types, the deal of the day, the lightning deals, the normal deals, the prime exclusive deals. There are many kind of different deals. And there are traditional, normal, let's say, coupons and discounts. The truth now is we have now the 5th of November. So for most of the deals, when it regards to Black Friday or Cyber Monday, there's not really an opportunity anymore to really participate. for most of you, right? Probably for some of you it still will be, but for most of you not, because Amazon will recommend products and then you need to accept them automatically, right? And normally these things happened already. There might be, some last minute things, but most of them happened already. And for all of the deals that you can set up within Seller Central, also Vendor Central, basically you still can do it, but most likely not anymore for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, more basically for the weeks before or for the weeks after. But it's definitely something that you should have a look at. It's something which will, as always, get lots of attention, lots of traffic, but it's only one thing that gets on these 2 days a significant amount of attention, because the other one is basically what you can pretty much all the time do. And these are normal discounts and normal coupons and also normal deals. So this is what you see here. I'm just searching for headphones right now. What we basically see here, you see in many, many, many listings, you see these save $12, save $5, save $8. Here's this limited time deal on top of that. Here are limited time deals of all of them, right? And another coupon here. It's nice and green, right? Can be percentage, can be a value. But if you just go through the product results, search results page, you see that almost 70% of them have something like a discount. How important do you think, Yasser, is it to have on Black Friday or Cyber Monday any kind of discount for your products?
Well, I think people or consumers before Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they're already looking for products, right? They're looking for products, and then they go on that particular day and see, do they have a deal or not? So oftentimes the buying decision is taken before that. Yeah, they already know what they're buying. They're just checking out, do they have a deal? Then even having a small deal, I think, will boost your conversion, right? Because a lot of people will do that research before. The better the deal, obviously, the more revenue you will make. But having any sort of deal during these days will prove very useful, and will increase conversion rate by a lot.
Yes, and I think that's just a very, very important, advice for everyone, right? So if you haven't thought about any vouchers, coupons yet, any discounts, now would be the right time. And the reason is many consumers on these 2, 3, 4 days, and also again afterwards, they will go through this exactly the same way that I did. And you see already here that this product gets much less attention automatically from me, right? Because it doesn't have this beautiful, nice green sign. And this already makes a big difference. It already makes a big difference. It doesn't so much matter, that there's already a small discount, right? It just matters that only already the visibility plays already a significant role. And the good thing about coupons and vouchers is that you basically can do them still now, right? So you don't need to basically, Amazon doesn't need to recommend them. If they don't pre-select them, you can do this. And this is very important. The second, now very important thing, which you see here in the results page, is that many of them are actually not organic results, right? So I think, it's always strikes me, but let's have a quick look. At the top, this one here, right, is an ad, right? You see this very small sponsored thing. This is Sponsored Brands Product Collection, right? 3 products showing up here. You see this is one Sponsored Brands ad, linking in this case to the shop. Then you see here, right, another one, right, sponsored. It's called bestseller, right, but it's actually sponsored. So it's a sponsored product ad. So also here, in many cases above the fold, you only have ads, right? In this case, it's organic, but this is an ad and this is an ad. Then afterwards, you continue here, and okay, here we see again some organic things, but here they highlight deals, obviously. Then we continue here. These are Amazon choice, normal ones, and then we continue. And same thing that you basically see if you scroll down, there are many ads. In this version, right, here's another one, less than in most other searches. Here's another one, right? In many other searches, you even find more, let's say almost every third product is basically an ad. And it continues here. You have here another sponsored brands in this case, right? Because they're all linked directly to the shop. These are 3 different ones. So you have here 3 different store spotlight ads for sponsored brands. And at the bottom, you have another sponsored display ad. In many cases, you also will see here at the left, you will see different kind of ads. In this case, not, right? But if I select now one product, let's go to the one without ads, right? Let's see what we have here. It normally continues. Here's another sponsored display ad, right? These are all here, sponsor products, right? So many ads all over the place, sponsor products, right? So what does that mean? It means that whenever you now really want to ensure that you get the visibility on Black Friday, on Cyber Monday, and when you really want to maximize your sales, there is unfortunately no way around doing advertising. Or would you disagree, Yasser?
100%. And I just saw one question. Yeah. So for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, any particular kind of ad you guys would suggest?
So before you answer this question, let's
Yeah.
actually start
Yeah.
exactly this
Is
question
it?
here,
Yeah.
because I would like to. So you have
Right.
another question in front of you, right? Which would just give us a little bit of background before we now answer this question, right?
Mhm.
The question is, which formats are you currently using? Sponsor products, sponsor display, and the 3 different sponsor brands formats: product collection, store spotlight, and video. Which ones of these, right? You can select more, right? But just give us a little bit of a hint. Which of these are you right now, right? As of today, if you would log in, which of these are you right now using? And then, Shannon, we'll come back to your question. But I just want to get a good understanding here. Okay, very interesting. So we'll share the results. So what you see here, so sponsor products, everyone is using sponsor products. This is like a no-brainer. But when we then look about sponsor brands and sponsor display, I think the most interesting thing is, at least today, sponsor display has the highest adoption. And then in sponsor brands, this is almost surprising, we have all of them almost at the same equal level, right? Video, store spotlight, product collection, right? So we have all of them, we have roughly 30-ish%. This matches more or less what we see as well. I think this is very representative, in fact, for basically the full market, which is also striking. But it's a very good representation of what's actually happening in the market, because these adoption rates are in fact very close to the real adoption rates. And now thinking about these formats, which formats, Yasser, would you say are making the most sense for Black Friday and Cyber Monday?
Yeah. So like you should, I think my answer will have 2 parts, right? So one generic part that in any case you should do, because you saw all the real estate, or a lot of the real estate on Amazon is through sponsored products, sponsored brands, sponsored display. So in general, you want to be in a position where you can just crank up the volume whenever you want, right? How do you get into this position? You have to have the right campaign structure, have an auto campaign to research new keywords, move them to a manual campaign, manual broad, then manual exact, as broad as possible. Yeah. At the end, you want to have your most relevant keywords on the match type exact. Yeah. And then you can put the bid that you like for each of these keywords that you know are relevant if you've done your research through the auto campaign. Yeah. This is proven data that Amazon gets you. This is in general, right? So you can do that through automation. Sellics offers this automation where you can do the keyword harvesting, moving search terms from auto campaign to manual broad to manual exact, and that fully automated, right? And then you set the target ACoS. The target ACoS ensures that each individual bid gets you the exact ACoS that you want to pay at the end of the day, right? And you get the most out of advertising. So when a day like this comes, yeah, you're already fully set, and you can just increase the target ACoS or increase the bids across all these keywords that you've already researched, yeah? Be it for sponsored products, sponsored brands. Now there is a more specific tip I want to share. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with brand analytics. In brand analytics, you have a search term report. In the search term report, you can go in and choose a particular date and see during that date how were the searches, what was the search volume like for each of these keywords. Yeah, and you can even filter out keywords that include the word Black Friday. So you go into brand analytics, you go into the search term report of brand analytics, you choose the date of last year's Black Friday, and you input, for example, Black Friday if you're selling mobile cases, mobile case. Yeah, and you get all the variations of searches that happened during that particular day last year. Yeah, so this is one step. Yeah, you take these keywords out, you go to your sponsored brands, do a sponsored brands campaign. How would I do the sponsored brands campaign? Now I've done the research, and no one is going to have this. Like very, very few sellers will do this, right? So you'll be one of the only people actually bidding on these searches. Yeah, so CPCs will be better, conversion rates will be high. I really recommend you to do this. Then you go to sponsored brands, and you have the possibility to run a store spotlight ad. Yeah, so you do one of the categories of your shop. We should call it, for example, Black Friday offers, and have it as a store spotlight, one of the categories, Black Friday offers, and then you have the matching keywords for that offer. Yeah, so people are looking for Black Friday offers, mobile cases, they see your ad, very prominent position on the search results, and they see, okay, so this brand offers actually Black Friday offers for especially what I'm looking for. So this is one of the more particular strategies I would do, but in general, use the keyword harvesting, research the keywords, put them in manual campaigns, so you can just during these days take up the bids and get the traffic, additional traffic at the lower ACoS, as we've seen. Yeah, so during these days, there's higher volume, CPCs are higher, conversion rates are higher. This is why the ACoS is still better than most of the days.
Thank you, Yasser. Yeah, I think this was a very, very comprehensive answer. I think there are many tips out there. I just want to quickly summarize up. I think from a top level what it basically means when it comes down to formats and Black Friday, Cyber Monday. The truth is that ideally you should use all of them, right? So it starts with sponsor products. I mean, that is clear. That's a no-brainer. That should always be the start. Sponsored display, I think we've just seen it, right? So sponsored display will work like a charm if you go very aggressively with ASIN targeting on the spots very close to the buy box, right? So these are incredibly powerful. You can target competitive products, you can target complement products, supplement products, all of them, right? So be very, very clear. You can also target your own products just to protect the conversion, right? So using sponsored display specifically for ASIN targeting for your own products, but also for competitive products makes, in this time, incredible sense. And it also makes incredible sense to use audience targeting with sponsored display. Remarketing, right? Again, people are in this buying mood. They want to buy. You cannot show up enough in this time, right? Because they will buy very quickly. They will buy. They're making decisions. So it's the moments where you really want to ensure that you show up. And the remarketing and audience functions of sponsored display are incredibly powerful for that. The placements are incredibly powerful for that, especially on the buy box. And also the placements that you can have for all of the formats that are at the top of the page. So placement bid modifiers, which we'll touch on in a second when we think about bidding, are also a fantastic thing because it really can help you to get also these beautiful places here, right? So sponsor products at the top, ensure that, again, people have a high conversion rate. This is the moment where you really want to show up. And we will look at the data, why this makes sense, even if CPCs are significantly higher, why this still makes lots of sense. So we'll talk about this in a second. But the third one that I want to mention, and this is the question I think which just someone asked, was around sponsored brands and the product collection versus store spotlight. So the truth is, it depends. This one here, product collection, can work incredibly well if you have now, look at this ad and think about all the three would have coupon codes or discounts. This would work amazing, right? Because you can show just immediately three fantastic, great working products, great, all discounts. Very likely that I will then go in there because I think, okay, cool, they have amazing products, they have great discounts, I want to go there. So in this case, product collection combined with the products that you select, those with nice and good discounts can work like a charm. This ad without discounts, if you don't have discounts for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, is such a prominent ad, probably not. Right, so this is something which will probably not work the best way for you in this case, and you might actually burn some money. So if you do product collection around like these deal hunting days, it is actually important to have deals / coupons so that you really can boost the click-through rate, conversion rate, and with the end also get better CPCs. And the same thing holds true for store spotlight. You can do store spotlight, but if you do so, please then also highly recommend it to link to a dedicated page like this one, right? Just, fun. It was an incident, right? But you see here, all of them have vouchers, have offers, right? So this is a very good page because you go in here and I see, okay, fantastic. I get deals on all of them. I'm in a buying mood. I want to go deeper. So standing there with a store page with explicitly showing deals and the best deals will make lots of sense. So the question which sub-ads you should use, and the question if you should use sponsored brands or sponsored products or sponsored display cannot be just answered in a very, let's say, one simple way. Just use this. In fact, all of the three can be incredibly powerful for you throughout the 5 days. It's just important that you use them correctly. We just published an article for all of you that are interested in going deeper into this topic, right? So if you go, let me just show you this. If you go to Sellics Q4 of the Century, there's a new article published basically right today, right? So where we have, okay, actually we don't have it here on this page yet. So let's go to the overall blog. It will be added there. Sponsor products versus sponsor brands, why you need both. And in this analysis, we will not cover this now today in depth, right? There's another session we'll do just for this, but you will see that sponsor brands can outperform sponsor products in many, many different shapes or forms. It really depends on the category and it depends on the strategy that you choose. So in a nutshell, right, if you still have time and the bandwidth, try to set them all up correctly. If you don't have this, start with sponsor products, continue with sponsored display, and focus on AS and targeting and on remarketing, and then move to sponsor brands and start there with store spotlight, product collection. You can play with both. And if you have the possibilities to do video, definitely something, but video will only work for you well if also your product in the end is a product that makes sense to be shown on a video, because not all products do this. But this in a nutshell when it comes to formats, right? There's much more that we could go into depth into the categories and all of this here, right? But from a top level, this would be the main advice. And I hope, Natasha, that this addressed your question. Shannon was asking the question, any Sellics material covering all the types of material around this? Yes, so you'll find most of this information right now. We're doing lots of stuff, right? So we're doing lots of stuff to go really deep into each of the three. You'll find in the Sellics blog, you'll find information about all of them: sponsor products, sponsor brands, sponsor display. As we speak, we're going much deeper into each of them. You just saw one of the new pieces which we published today, which is a deep dive into sponsor brands versus sponsor products and what performs when best, right? So you can also check this one out. And we also will continue in the next weeks and months to go much deeper into all of them. But as I know that all of you are very interested now for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the big guidance would be connected to this order. Jordan, you were asking a question. I'm curious about the benchmark. It came on my screen for a second and disappeared now. Yes, that's another fantastic question, also connected to the formats. If you haven't done this yet, what you should do, right, is just go to Sellics, sellics.com, and you will have here, if you go over advertising, there is now a fourth link, which is called Sellics Benchmarker Beta. If you click on this link, it will send you to this page where you can get a free analysis, free report of your ad formats. And this report will tell you exactly where the biggest opportunities are for you when it comes to sponsor products, when it comes to sponsor brands, and very soon also sponsor display, as we go through the 4 big KPIs, ACoS, CPC, CTR conversion rate. So what you saw, Jordan, was basically this very quick, simple demo view of the report. This is the report that you will get, an analysis of your distribution, an analysis of your performance versus performance in your category versus your benchmarks, how well or not so well you're doing, and then also the ways which you can really do to improve it. This report right now, if you haven't done it yet, definitely highly recommend it. It's free. You can do this. You can join afterwards the private community. We'll discuss all of the insights in more depth. Please, if you haven't done it, do it. And it will help you to really, really see where you can double down on. And now is the time to really focus on the most important things. Again, we have 20 days. You don't have time to do everything. So now would be the time to really understand what are the biggest opportunities to ensure that in the next 30 days, you can get the most out of it. So I hope that helped to thank you, Jordan. That's great. And I know we're out of time, but one last thing which I just like to cover in the last minute or two is one thing which I just think is probably one of the key things, if you really want to get the most out of this. And this is, in the end, bidding and budgets, right? It's, again, something which we can pretty much spend a full hour on, but I will give a very, very quick update. So we saw the revenue increases and then decreases. We saw that. But what about ACoS? ACoS actually, and this is very, very important, ACoS, even if CPCs are significantly higher on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and also afterwards, CPCs are significantly higher on average, the average ACoS is the lowest across the full year. So what does that mean? It means that the high CPCs, right? So these are the high CPCs. CPCs increase, right? They increase, they're higher, but the conversion rate continues to increase radically. And you also see here that the conversion rate continues to increase even to the 20th of December. And the overall increase in conversion rate outperforms by far the increase in CPC, which leads to this chart, that ACoS is actually down. It's only down on Black Friday, Cyber Monday. ACoS remains very low through the 3 weeks in December. So what does that mean when you think now about your formats and when you think about your bidding strategy and think of budget strategy? It means that you want to ensure that your budgets are at least twice as high as they normally are. Ideally, even open end, but then just monitor them, right? But ensure that your budgets are not capped. And when it comes to bidding, don't be scared about increasing the bids, right? Don't be scared. Ensure that the formats are set up correctly, ensure that you target correctly and that you use coupons, but then don't be afraid of increasing the bids. Conversion rates skyrocket. This is the time, right? People are in the buying mood. So you can now increase CPCs and bids easily. And 50%, don't be afraid of 50%, don't be afraid of 100%. Do it. If you will notice that it's too much, what I doubt that you will, right? You can still decrease it. But common mistake, or most big common mistakes that we see, mistake number 1, budget bid increases are too low. Don't just increase it 20%, 50, 100%, even 150 can work. Don't be afraid of big increases. Same thing is true for budgets. And the second mistake is this beautiful time after Cyber Monday. It increases again. Cyber Monday is not the end, it's actually the beginning of the real conversion rate wave. So stay high up to the 20th of December. So I just want to end this session with this one because I always find it incredibly important, right, to get this message across, as I think this is something where we see many are missing out of this opportunity, but it's one of the biggest opportunities that really want to maximize your sales in this incredible time. Betty is asking, is the Sellics data Amazon data? So this is based on a Sellics study, which we've done on 2019 data. This is a big aggregated data set. So it's not official Amazon data, right? It's Sellics data, but based on everything that we heard and what we see, we think that it's actually very representative of what many can expect. Of course, there are many differences. There are differences in terms of categories, differences in what you sell, differences in marketplaces, all of this from top level. For the majority of brands and sellers on Amazon, this is more or less what you can expect. Cool. Then I know we are over time, but we really hope that this was helpful. And again, we want to say thank you for your engagement. We also want to say a big thank you now that you're attending. We know this is a crazy busy week for the world, right? But we still wanted to continue with the show because we know that there are only 20 days left. Black Friday and Cyber Monday are coming, if we want it or not, right? So it's very important now to really get everything set up properly. So we really thank you for your attendance, for your engagement, for your questions. Feel free to reach out to us. If you haven't used the benchmark yet, please do so. Join the community. If you have any further questions, you can also ask the questions there, and we will promise to go very deep into them and try to help you to make the most out of this critical time. With that said, we want to say a big thank you. Thank you, Yasser. As always, incredibly helpful. We wish all of you a fantastic Thursday.